welcome back to Susan Dawn at Spiritual Connections. Welcome to a brand new Sacred Union Energy Update. It feels like spring, and so we have our new spring setup. I spent most of yesterday outside enjoying the warm weather and all those light codes, and it is definitely eclipse energy because I spent most of today napping. There's quite a juxtaposition there, and so it is intense energy. You might be feeling that intensity. I spent a little bit of time outside today too, and in that meditation I received the title for this reading, and that's when I felt called to come in and actually do a reading. And we were going to do this anyway, but I got that nudge to do it now, and so we'll be posting this on the date of the eclipse. Now remember, all these readings are meant to be timeless. If it is not the eclipse when you're watching this, take this for other eclipses. Take this for other cosmic events. These cosmic energies are meant to support us in our ascension and in our sacred union. They are catalyst energies. That's what eclipses are. They are portals, they are gateways, but you are always moving through portals and gateways by your conscious choice. It's never that you miss a gateway or a portal just because it's not landing on a specific day. When we have energies like eclipses, or we have, for example, the Lion's Gate is another heightened one. When we have these cosmic events, it's amplified energy. That's all that is. It's amplified energy for you to shift through your conscious choice, and that's where your empowerment comes from. That's where your self-mastery comes from. It is a conscious choice to shift a pattern, a belief, to shift a thought process, to shift within yourself into your own embodiment. So that's what these eclipses are all about, and we're going to be going deeper into this in my new workshop coming up this weekend. It is called Sacred Shifts, Mastering Energetic Transitions and Timeline Shifts. So it is, even though it's on the heels of this eclipse energy, there's another eclipse that is coming up at the end of the month. This is going to help you navigate any cosmic event, any energetic portal going forward. So in this workshop, we're going to learn how to work with these energies instead of feeling like you're lost in the chaos. We'll explore these shifting timelines and transitions that are aligning you with energies of endings and beginnings and all this catalytic energy. That's what it really feels like. It feels like catalytic energy. We'll learn how shifts impact your sacred connection with your partner and how to navigate all the changes that are coming from them, because these union energies are here. If you watched our last video, they are here. The doorways are open, and we are on track. Where we had been perhaps hijacked in the past, those energies have been hijacked, we are still on track, and you can feel it, and that is because of your self-mastery. And we're going to talk more about that energy that was hijacked and how we're on track now in upcoming channelings. But if you have been feeling this energy and it feels profound, then know that it is on track for the union within yourself, or I should say, because you gave birth to that union within yourself. That's what it was for. It was for that embodiment. It's not enough to know something intellectually. It is embodying that energy that shifts everything. Because when you're embodying that energy, you are the shift. You become the conscious shift. So we're going to end the workshop with a light language transmission activation to help you integrate all these energies. And the workshop will be yours to look back on, to help you guide you forward and navigate any of these cosmic events and energetic portals, including upcoming eclipses going forward, because our evolution keeps building upon itself. So we're going to be doing what are we doing today? Sacred Union Energy Update. We're going to look at the Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine, and Union energies. Do make sure that you are also checking out the latest Cosmic Alignment reading, the Twin Flame Turning Point reading that we did about the Venus Mars retrograde energy that we just experienced. A lot of dynamics at play here. I'll put all the links of interest in the description box. Make sure that you are checking out all the recent readings there for the full picture of what is being experienced to help you with your journey and support your journey. So remember to take these readings for your own inner masculine and feminine, for your counterpart connection, to hold more space and compassion and love and conscious connection with each other, or for the global energies when it comes to masculine and feminine energies, because your sacred union ascension journey is also playing out on a collective level. At least in some form on a collective level, it's playing out. So let's go ahead and see what's going on for the masculine right now. With this eclipse energy, we're focusing on the eclipse energy. And this eclipse energy, like I said, it's giving birth to the bridge. Giving birth to the bridge of union. Like I said, I got that phrase, birthing the bridge, over the last couple of hours when I was just sitting outside in this energy, and that's what it feels like. We have channeled, the last Sacred Union energy update was all about the bridge to union, and that's what this energy is. It is the bridge. It is the bridge. It is the bridge itself that is being birthed. And so, like I said, this eclipse energy is very catalyzing. Now, you might not see that in the physical. Don't focus on the physical as the only indicator of change. You feel that energy within yourself first. You birth that energy within yourself first. I have been going through my own process this weekend where I feel like I have been birthing a new version, a higher version, yet another version of myself, of my higher self. That is also playing out in my business here, and I'll be sharing more about that shortly. But you'll see that in your life, you'll see that in yourself. It is the embodiment. We're going deeper and deeper at this level of our ascension journey, of our Sacred Union ascension journey. It's deeper and deeper into the embodiment of yourself, of your true authentic self, of your soul self, of your sacred self. And so the more that you're in tune with that and connected to that, embodying that energy, the more that plays out in your connection. Even if you're not able to physically see that, there is a transformation that is happening. There is an undercurrent of energy that flows through your connection. Remember, this is a soul to soul connection. It's not always showing itself in the physical, at least maybe not showing itself in the physical as you would expect, or maybe even as you would like, but that's where the journey unfolds. That's where you allow for that unfolding. That's where you release the expectation and learn to trust in the journey, and even learn how to trust in each other and how you both are on this journey together. Again, from the last reading, they showed me the apex. We're at the top of a pyramid. For example, this is you as one, and then you're having different experiences in your physical experience, but energetically you're honoring each other. Energetically, you are doing this together. They also showed it to me like this. They're reminding me. They showed it to me like this at the very beginning of our channeling, actually. I have this in my book, The Unity Code. If you'd like to go deeper into your journey, the Unity Code is a great foundation and your ultimate guide for that. This circle indicates you and your counterpart. It might sometimes look like you were on different paths, but you're on the same path. You're still on that same circle. So here you have the meeting. Here you have what you might perceive as separation, but you're still on the same path. And then you have your reunion and reconciliation. The other way that they brought to me to explain it was, if it's a linear path, like a line, you're coming at it from one angle, your counterpart is coming at it from the other angle, and then you meet, but you recognize that you are truly on that same path. So it might not seem it in the physical, but don't look at the physical. Don't look for evidence. Don't look for data in order to determine where you are in your union. Remember, you are and always have been in union. You're just dispelling and releasing all of the illusion of separation. So let's take a look and see what's going on for the Divine Masculine. What's going on for the Divine Masculine? The Void. Oh, interesting. There's a lot to be said about this. I'll get into that in a second. Let's get what's going on for the Divine Feminine. What's going on for the Divine Feminine? Boundaries. And what do we need to know for the union energies? Oh, this one came out too. Change. Okay. And what came out for the... what do we need to know for the union energies? Wisdom. Okay, I'm going to start with the union energies, and we also have the masculine at the bottom of the deck. And I'm actually going to put that here because I do feel like the masculine is at the forefront here. the union energies, we have the number 22, and 2 is that divine number. It's a union number, 2 of cups, the lover's kind of energy. It is partnership, relationship, balance, harmony, and co-creation is also a word that they're giving me. And we see this especially with this Venus retrograde that is going on. And Venus retrograde and the eclipse is going to be huge when it comes to relationships. There's going to be a lot of clarity, a lot of revelation, and also a lot of what we're calling revealing. Seeing beneath the surface, seeing the truth of your connection, and seeing the love that has always been there. And when I'm saying the truth of your connection, I'm talking specifically to those counterparts who have gone through the journey and are at a higher heart ascension phase of their experience, where they have tuned into their inner knowing, where they are honoring the energies and not just looking at the physical relationship to determine what the connection is. So I'm not talking about those who might be doubting or questioning their connection, although that always comes up in pockets, right? That's always coming up in order for you to go deeper and deeper into your truth, into your inner knowing. Who I'm channeling for are those who are, regardless of what it looks like in the physical, are connecting to the higher energies of the connection. You don't have to have contact. You don't have to engage. You don't have to be in communication with your counterpart. We're talking about the energies here. And you know what your counterpart connection is, regardless of what it looks like in the physical. And again, that's where you have your boundaries. And we'll talk about that for the feminine too. That's where you have your boundaries. So we're talking about those who know your who your counterpart is, who know that you're connecting with that energy. If you haven't met your counterpart yet, then you know that you're connecting with the sacredness of the masculine energy. I'm going to put a bunch of links in the description box for you guys to refer back to, or you can just read my book, because it's going to give you the full picture of everything that we teach and everything that we're talking about and channeling here. This is what this energy is. It feels like all this energy is revealing even more truth, revealing even more of that love, revealing, and that's what that truth is. That truth is that love, the love that has always been the undercurrent of your connection, that has always been mirrored back and forth between you two. But it was just your own egos and human selves and all the past trauma and past incarnations and all the patterns and beliefs that kind of created that separation, that disconnect. Imagine you're facing each other. I'm seeing a masculine and a feminine facing each other, and there's just pure love that is passing between you. This is what you experienced when you first met, or when you first experienced that reunion, is that you had that love, you had that soul recognition, and you went into what we call the honeymoon phase, but it was like a sacred bubble. And that's what happens when you're together, when you're in that flow of love, when you're not resisting, when you're not in the ego, when you're not pushing back, when you're leaning into that love, leaning into the flow of love, when your heart is open and unguarded to it, there is that harmony, there is that flow, there is that peace. And you both exist in a place of liberated love. And what I mean by liberated love, what they're showing me is the bird that rests on the hand. It's a Buddhist teaching. I can't remember who it is at this moment, but love is a bird that rests in the hand. It's not something that you have to grasp. It's not something that you have to cage. It is something that just is. It just flows between you two. And to acknowledge it, to recognize it, to surrender to it is part of the sacred act of love. And love is an act. Love is an act. It is an active energy. What happens when you're facing each other, sometimes the mirror becomes very strong. And so if you're in your states of unconsciousness and distortion, which all of us began in at the beginning of our journey, I should say, we began in states of unconscious, and that's where we were activated to our ascension journey with our counterpart, healing all that, those triggers being brought up for healing. And you don't just heal through your counterpart, you also heal through other dynamics and situations and experiences. But your counterpart will mirror and show you where those triggers are, what I like to call the holes. Your counterpart will show you where you need to fill up with more love, to give yourself more love, to connect deeper to yourself. And that's what your journey is all about. And so, here with this wisdom card in the union energy, you have attained all of this wisdom. This is where you have reached a new level of consciousness, and then you can apply that to conscious connection. And so, you see how she's kind of reaching up. This is the next level, and this is what this eclipse energy is bringing in. It's bringing you to the next level, potentially even to the next level with each other. When I say potentially, I'm especially talking about in the physical. Now, that doesn't have to play out right now. Remember, this energy is a process. It is going to continue to build and explore throughout, I feel like, the next 6 months. Eclipse energies are all about 6 month cycles. And so I feel like this is opening a door over the next 6 months of perhaps more communication, more physical meetings, reconciliations, reunions, conversations, meetups, whatever that is, but in a much more conscious way. Now, that does come down to the two of you, your healing, how you interact with each other, and conscious choices. And that's where we come to the feminine, where you have to have those boundaries. Feminines, you have been in your own kind of cocoon of embodying this new energy, learning about yourself, where you had in the past been a very people pleaser kind of energy, over giving, over sacrificing, because you were conditioned to throughout your life from society as a whole, perhaps even from upbringing. There was a conditioning that was happening. You have been deconditioning yourself. You have been learning what it is to hold the sacred codes. You've been learning what it is to hold the divine feminine energy, and not just the divine feminine, but also the dark divine feminine, which is divine feminine mother energy at the core. Dark divine feminine energy is not anything negative. Dark divine feminine is fearless. She is unapologetic. And when I say that, I mean unapologetically herself, truly authentic. She knows herself. She honors herself, and such she demands that she be honored too, not in a distorted way. I always want to make that distinction, because there is such a disconnect between what is divine and what is distortion. And we have for so long seen the distortion in our society play out. We think that honoring means maybe luxury gifts, and there's nothing wrong with luxury gifts, but that's not honoring. Honoring is respect. Honoring is love. Honoring is affection, giving of the heart. It can express itself in luxury and pleasure, and those are beautiful things, beautiful expressions. But without the presence, without the stability, without the conscious connection, then those are empty actions. That's empty. And I'm talking societally as a whole. Divine feminine energy, especially dark divine feminine energy, is all about having those boundaries. And boundaries are not guards. Boundaries are not walls. Boundaries are your standards. They are saying, how do I want to be treated? How do I want to be loved? And thus, how do I want to be able to offer my love? Because remember, the feminine is the amplifier. What she receives and is able to receive, that's also part of the divine feminine. That's part of the distorted feminine energy. The energy of the feminine that's been distorted, she's not able to receive. She thinks that it's selfish to receive. We have all been there. I've definitely been there. Feeling like you need to take care of everything yourself and everyone yourself, and that you're not able to be in partnership, that you're not able to have somebody care for you. Again, there's two ends of the spectrum, and this is what we really learn on our ascension journey, is the middle path. We learn the balance. We learn that either end of the spectrum, either extreme, is distorted. The divinity is in the middle. The divinity is in the balance. And so when we're talking about being able to receive, again, we're talking about being able to hold that energy and amplify it, so that you're able to give then in overflow, not in sacrifice. So feminine has been learning all about her boundaries, and this is where a lot of change is coming in for her, a lot of transformation in that embodiment. She's in a new energy where she recognizes maybe the old unconscious version of herself, and so she is consciously choosing, no, this is how I want to lead my life. This is who I want to be, because this is who I know that I am at my core, and I had not been embodying that previously. Now, you don't know what you don't know. When you're in your unconscious, you're not aware that you're acting in your unconscious. You're not aware that you're playing out of old beliefs and old patterns. As you grow, as you evolve, it becomes much more conscious. You become much more aware of those patterns. And that's where you step into conscious choice. I'm going to make a change because I know that that's an old energy stemming from an old belief. I can write a new belief. I don't have to believe that version of myself anymore. I don't have to play out that version of myself anymore. That might have served a purpose up until this point. That might have been who I was up until this point. But now I'm going to embody who I know my truth is at the core. And that's not to say that you're a different person, right? That's not to say that you're a different, how shall I say this? That's not to say that who you were isn't who you are. You're just moving into a higher version of yourself, a more conscious version of yourself, a more embodied version of yourself. I'm still who I am. I've always been who I am. I've been consistent in who I am. But now I'm embodying a different energy of that, a much more connected energy of that, where I am more anchored into knowing who I am. That's where we say, know thyself is the core of your ascension. Knowing yourself, connecting deeply to yourself is your ascension journey. It is what your ascension journey is bringing you to. The more you know yourself, the more you connect to yourself, the more connected you are to God's source, the universe, to all, to each other. It is all within the connection itself of yourself. And so, for example, in the past, I was in people pleasing energy. I didn't understand that. I didn't know that. But it took a lot for me to say that I needed help. It took a lot for me to allow myself to be cared for, even when I was at my sickest. I always felt, no, I need to take care of it myself. No, I need to be independent. Not realizing that to be totally independent or totally dependent are two extremes. And that's where I could allow myself to receive support when I needed it, but it wasn't taking away from my independence. That's what's called interdependence. And that's what you experience in conscious connections too, where you're not dependent on each other. You're still independent. That's that liberated love energy, right? You're still independent. You're still who you are. You don't get lost in each other, but you're not so independent that you are not in partnership with each other, that you are pushing each other away from that independence, because intimacy is all about being vulnerable with each other. Intimacy is all about closeness and allowing that closeness, and you do that with everybody, with your family, with friends. Intimacy is all about that close connection. And so what's happening for the feminine is she is embodying that intimate connection with herself, which is thus allowing herself to have that intimate connection with her masculine, her inner masculine, perhaps with her counterpart, embodied counterpart connection, with others, with the world, with God's source. It's going deeper and deeper and deeper within. And that's because through her having boundaries of, I know who I am and I know how I deserve to be treated. I know what my standards are when it comes to basic decency. I know what it is that I want in my life and the kind of connections I want to have. When you have those boundaries, again, we misconstrue boundaries as a guard or a wall up. When we have healthy boundaries are just invitations for those intimate connections. And that's where that change is coming in. Now, let's pivot to the void for the masculine. Kind of doing things a little bit differently today, but that's how the messages are coming in. As I began, when we got this card, the void, there's a lot that's actually happening in the void. I did a channeling many years ago called The Void is the Bridge to Union. And I'll try to put that in the description box. It is also in our video bundle on our website. The void. I like how it's the number one because this is where the beginning happens. We've been talking about how the feminine feels like she's been in a kind of a cocoon and she's giving birth to a new version of herself. And like we shared, I forget which video it was, maybe one of the astrology channelings, by April, by the end of Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde, and this eclipse season, this eclipse month, I feel like the feminine is going to birth a new version of herself. She's already doing that. but it's going to come to the forefront. It's going to be birthed fully. Right now you might be having some of those birthing pains, for example, where you feel a new you emerging, but it's not quite fully formed yet. That's what this energy feels like. Like I said yesterday, I was just in like a new energy, and I felt like I've been giving birth to a new version of myself, definitely a new version of my business with what's to come, and I can't wait to share it with you all. But it really feels like we're not quite there yet. Like there's new that's coming in, but it hasn't fully formed yet. It hasn't fully emerged yet. That's because we're still kind of here. Well, the masculine is experiencing something similar, where they're in what it might seem like a void, but there's a lot that's happening energetically within this void. There's a new beginning that's emerging. There's a new version of themselves too that's beginning to take shape. This masculine, I'm getting Four of Swords energy, so there's a lot of healing, a lot of integration that's happening, even if they're physically active, maybe with work or with family or obligations or expectations, whatever that is, but they're not approaching it in the same way that they had in the past. That is what's new. And that's what we've been talking about when it comes to your connection, where it's not necessarily going to be, it might look similar, and that's any kind of cycle, and you might be experiencing full circle moments here. So any kind of cycle, it might look similar, but you're in a different energy, and so that's what's going to make the change. Your energy is what changes everything, not your actions, not what you do, not what you think. It is your energy. Now your actions and what you think, your beliefs, those all play a part in informing your energy. It's all interconnected here. So I don't want you to think that those things don't matter. They do. But solely, it's not just your actions. It's not just your words. It's not just your thoughts. It's not just your beliefs. It's literally all of it. And that's what embodiment is. It's when all of those things are in alignment and you feel that in your energy. It's a new energy. All those things have to come together. They have to be in alignment. Your actions with your thoughts, with your words, with your beliefs, they have to be in alignment. But it's the energy that informs the new when those things are aligned. So I feel like that's what's happening for the masculine. And again, I feel like the masculine is really at the forefront here. The masculine energy is at the forefront. There's kind of like a energetic focus on the masculine, and that could be your inner masculine, divine feminine that you're feeling, or it could be your counterpart that you're feeling go through this ascension. This rebirth process is really what they're going through too. So Four of Swords energy, there's a lot of healing that's happening here. Let's start with the masculine and see what else we need to know. What do we need to know for the masculine? King of Cups. That King of Cups has been coming up for quite a while. And what I like about this is this King of Cups does not feel emotionally stunted. He does not feel, what we had seen a long time ago was like a heart that was kind of frozen in ice. And that heart had a lot of love and a lot of wisdom to share. But it was frozen. It was guarded. So much so that he wasn't able to connect with himself, with others, with you, Divine Feminine. And what we saw through this ascension journey was that ice wall kind of cracking. And it was coming out as like a flood of emotions, not able to regulate themselves. That's not this energy. That's what the masculine has gone through, has moved through. That's what their ascension journey has brought them through, to really connect deeply with their emotions in a healthy way. This is an emotionally mature and connected masculine who is beginning to understand their emotions and connect with their emotions and what that means, and rather than denying their own emotions, leaning to them, especially when it comes to love, and especially I'm also hearing when it comes to this connection. So the King of Cups is also an energy of, oh, how do we put this? It's feminine energy. And the way that we've channeled this in the past and taught this in the past was, the more the masculine is in touch with their own feminine energy, the more they're connected to their divine feminine. Because you, divine feminine, are them. Like, especially in a twin flame connection, as we're talking about, your inner masculine energy, divine feminine, is your embodied masculine. Divine feminine, you are their inner feminine. Am I saying this correct? It's so hard when I'm channeling to repeat stuff that I've channeled in the past. Basically, you're one soul. You have your masculine and your feminine energy in both of you, but you're a core masculine or a core feminine, but you have both energies within you. And divine feminine, as you're healing your inner masculine energy, that is embodied in your counterpart. Divine masculine, as you're healing your feminine energy, that is embodied in your feminine. So the more that the masculine is connecting to their inner feminine energy, the more they're connected to the feminine, perhaps even energetically. But for some of you, you're actually having meetups and conversations, and you're actually having, I'm also hearing more in-depth conversations, so it's more emotionally attuned. Take it slow is guidance that I'm getting. Let that foundation be laid. Lay that foundation for emotional connection. Again, is what I'm hearing. Again, lay that foundation. Let it be a foundation with conversations, phone calls, letters, however you communicate. Maybe nobody writes letters anymore. That's a shame. What is it? Emails or like text messages, whatever it is. Let that foundation be laid, because that foundation is actually much more stable than it was ever in the past. Because now, again, you're both in a much more conscious state and much more emotionally connected and attuned. And when I say emotionally connected, that's especially for the divine masculine, where they are tuning into their intuition. And as they tune into their intuition, as they tune into their or cultivate that feminine energy, that's actually what makes the masculine energy within them rise. The feminine energy energetically leads the connection, and that she goes through her ascension first, and the masculine holds space for that. And then the masculine goes through his ascension, and the feminine, having been through that, holds space for the masculine, having acknowledged and knowing what that entails energetically, hold space for the masculine. And so as the masculine is attuning through their ascension process to the feminine energy, learning to trust their intuition, not from an ego intuition stance, but really within that higher heart space, and connecting to their heart, aligning to their heart. What they showed me was the higher mind and the higher heart connecting, aligning with each other, turning on. It was like like an electric light stream between the two that was turning on. This was many, many months ago. We channeled that. That's what this is. It's an alignment of the higher mind and the higher heart. So that's not an ego, but it's connected to the heart space. As that feminine energy is anchored in, then they begin to connect with their inner masculine, which is all about grounded energy, embodied energy, which is consistent, stable, decisive, disciplined, structured. That doesn't mean there's no flexibility. That's the feminine energy. That doesn't mean that there's no logic. That's also the masculine energy. You need both. We are humans, and as humans, we need to have that balance of logic and practicality and intuition and heart-driven guidance. So this is alignment for the masculine, connecting both energies. This is the inner union. To put it very precisely, this is the inner union for the masculine, and that's part of this void. They are going into their inner union, beginning to experience their inner union. That's what's being birthed in this kind of void, in this cocoon. Like I said, there's a lot happening within the perceived void. It might look like nothing's happening, but there's a lot that's happening energetically. So this King of Cups, I love this King of Cups. This King of Cups is loving, nurturing, honoring of their emotions. This King of Cups is connected to their heart space in a mature way. Not afraid of intimacy, not afraid of that vulnerability, having the capacity now to hold that, or at the very least beginning to work within the nervous system to have the capacity to hold that energy, to hold that intimacy, to hold that connection, because they're beginning to become more connected to themselves. I'm also getting drawn to the seahorses. I don't know what the seahorses mean and represent. I'll look into that and put that in description too as I look that up. But I'm getting drawn to the seahorses here too. There are two of them, as you can see, but we'll look up the meaning. And if you guys know if there's any additional meaning, or if seahorses connect with you personally, let me know in the comments. That might be a specific message for somebody. Okay, tell me more about the masculine, please. Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, what I like about the King of Cups and the Knight of Pentacles is this is even more indicating more stability, more of that stability we were channeling for the King of Cups with that emotional maturity. The Knight of Pentacles is grounded energy. Pentacles is tangible material form. It is grounded, it is stable. the King of Pentacles is one of my favorite cards in the deck because of that stability, because of that groundedness. And so the Knight of Pentacles is indicating that it is a process. It is moving forward towards that stability, moving forward towards that groundedness, moving forward towards creating something tangible. Let me see. There's something on the other side of this Knight of Pentacles. What is this? Three of Cups, celebration. This is also one of my union cards because you have the 2 cups pouring into the 1. The 1 indicating union. The feminine, the masculine pouring into the 1. Many years ago, we channeled this as my union card because of this very picture. I think it was the other deck. This is the 2nd edition. I think it was the other deck, but it was the same energy. 2 cups pouring into the 1, where it's the masculine and the feminine, where it might seem like it is completely separate, but as it pours into the 1, and that indicating God's source energy too, one with God, it is that soul merge. And soul merge does not mean that you lose your sense of identity with each other in the human experience. Not at all. You're still who you are. You will always be who you are in the human experience. There's such a spiritual bypassing that happens in the spiritual community that I have just been going on and on about because I cannot understand it. I do understand it, but I just can't accept it anymore. Like it's so damaging. Spiritual bypassing is what happens when we ignore our human self. And we're not meant to ignore our human self. We still have identities as humans. But our ascension journey teaches us that we are also more than humans. We are more. We can still have our likes and our interests. Spiritual bypassing is saying that I can't like musicals or hockey because those aren't spiritually approved. Well, that's bullshit. You can love whatever it is that you love, just approach it from a higher level of consciousness and awareness. That's all that is. Just understand that there's more, that you are more. You are more than who you always thought yourself to be. You are more than your human self, but you are also human. You are holding 2 truths. Again, that's the middle way. It's not one end of the spectrum or the other. That's where the distortion comes in. When you're too much in your human, too much in your 3D, you lose sight of the energetic interconnectedness. When you're too much in your spiritual, you get caught up in ego and spiritual psychosis, and you lose sight of all connection to your human experience. We are here to be the bridge. And especially as twin flames and sacred partners, you are showing the way as the bridge, especially that bridge of love. What it means to be the bridge of love in human incarnation. You're never meant to bypass your human experience. You're meant to embrace it and love it, but from a conscious standpoint, from recognizing the energetic interconnectedness of all things, the threads that unite us. We are still unique expressions, but we are still interconnected. And that's what I love about the 3 of Cups. It is showing us that even in the merge, we are still us, experiencing our human selves in relationship, in connection, in family dynamics, in friendships. And with twin flames and sacred partners, when the soul merges, it is just oneness. It is harmony. It is balance. You've come home. That inner union is, you're already whole. You're not seeking outside of yourself. And that's, again, where I think the twin flame connection gets really misconstrued, where it thinks that you think that you're looking for your other half. You're not looking for your other half. They're reminding me of the Jane Eyre quote, "He's more myself than I. He and I are the same." Something like that. I can't remember as oh no, that's Wuthering Heights. I can't remember as I'm channeling. You're still whole within yourself, and that's what your inner union is showing you. But as you come into that inner union, that wholeness within your own inner masculine and feminine, that's naturally expressed within your connection, because your reflection, or your outside reality, is a reflection of you. It's a reflection of that wholeness within you. And so that's where you have a conscious connection with your counterpart. That's where you experience that sacred union in your physical world, because it is that wholeness within you that is reflected back. And so that's the importance of this ascension journey. It's the importance of connecting deeply to yourself. It's the importance of recognizing your wholeness, not as something outside of yourself, not as something another person can fill, but as something within yourself. And then you support each other. You come together in that love, in that harmony, in that balance, and you support each other in continuing evolution, continuing growth. I water you and you water me. It's the same garden, maybe two separate sections of it, but you help water each other, you help nurture each other. That is what a true conscious and interdependent connection and relationship is all about. And this is where you're being guided. This is what your twin flame journey was all about, especially with conscious connection, counterpart relationship with each other. So how's the divine masculine feeling about the connection or feminine? How's the divine masculine feeling about the connection or the divine feminine? We have the World that flipped over. We have the Ace of Cups that flipped over. Yeah, I feel... okay, I just got a beautiful message. I feel like this masculine thinks the world of you, loves you, thinks the world of you, might have kept that guarded and secret within their own heart space, but thinks the world of you, truly honors, respects, and admires you. And at the very least, I feel like they are coming to that conclusion within themselves. Maybe they were not always aware of that, consciously aware of that, but that love has always been there. Remember, there's more underneath the surface. There's always that undercurrent of energy. So I feel like, how do they feel about you? The world. There's so much love there. And that love is reflecting how you feel about each other. They're feeling that because of you too, divine feminine. The more you unlock that guarded heart, and I understand the journey that many of you have experienced. I've experienced that myself, where you might have built up resentment. You might have pain. You might have anger. And all those are justified within the experiences that you have had. But there also has to be forgiveness. And once you go through that process of forgiveness, and make sure that you're checking out some past timeless readings, especially from the past summer, because I experienced this myself, all that's left is peace, and all that's left is love. And that's where you don't have to necessarily be engaging or communicating with your counterpart, but you're connected energetically. Tune into the higher self. Tune into the energy of the higher heart. That's where this love will always be. Your love, your connection will always exist, first and foremost, on the bridge of the heart, within the heart chakra, within that higher heart. First and foremost, on that bridge. And that is where, on that bridge of the heart, this connection gives birth. So I feel like the masculine is feeling this because you've opened up and are feeling that too, divine feminine. That peace, that love, that unguardedness. It's beautiful energy. It's just loving energy. It's a little bit surprising, but it is very loving energy. Very loving energy, and only surprising to the ego. I say that as Susan. It's only surprising to the ego. You know that this is what has always existed between you, truly. It's always existed between you. But now the masculine is becoming much more aware of it. And through that awareness, and especially that King of Cups energy, connected to themselves, opening up to allow more intimacy, to lean into the connection. I feel like, especially with the world here, new cycles beginning. A new cycle is beginning. What's going on for the divine feminines now? Let's get more on the divine feminines. What's on the divine feminine side of things? The Ace of Pentacles. Oh, and the Sun. I almost picked out the Sun. The Sun was on the bottom of the deck. I almost put that down for the masculine, but I got called to keep it within the deck. I do want to mention it, though, because I do feel like how they're feeling about you is like you are like the sun. Like you are a very bright beacon for them, having guided them and continuing to guide them. Again, whether they're fully conscious of this or not, they're becoming much more aware of this. They're becoming much more recognition of this. And part of what's being surrendered within this void is what I'm hearing is that resistance to it. They're letting go of any resistance they had to it, and that's mirroring you, divine feminine. The more you let go of that resistance and just feel into that love, you might feel a lot of surge of love. Yesterday, I felt so giddy, and I think the weather was part of it, because it was so beautiful out, and I was barefoot, and I'm like, I can't wait to wear dresses again and twirl and just be outside all the time. I felt that energy of spring, something being reborn, and I was in such high spirits, and I'm at more of a neutral place now, still feeling happy, not quite as giddy, but it was that surge of energy, that surge of love that I was feeling that was flowing through me. And I feel like the masculine is experiencing something similar. Might not be able to recognize it, might not be consciously aware of it yet, or at the very least, let me put it this way, not maybe not using that same language or putting it into those words or associating it in the same way, but they're definitely feeling it. And so when I say a neutral place, it's not that my energy has lowered, it's just that it's soul surges. That's what it is. It's soul surges. So I feel like that's what's happening as you're feeling this happiness energy. The masculine is mirroring that and feeling that too. And they are connecting to your energy, divine feminine, but not in the place that maybe it had been before, where they were kind of latching onto it and pulling at your energy. Because they're connecting to themselves, they're recognizing their own worth, they're recognizing their value, they're recognizing they have all of that strength within themselves too, all that strength and all that goodness. I don't know how to say that. All that love, all that worthiness, all that value that they saw in you, they're recognizing that within themselves. And that's what you've always seen in them, divine feminine. That's what you've always seen in them. But they had to see that for themselves and believe in that for themselves. There's no, I said this to a client recently, there's literally no amount of loving someone or trying to prove your love to somebody or believing in someone that will ever have them believing in themselves. That is an inside job. And that's what this masculine has been going through themselves, learning to see themselves more clearly, believe in themselves, honor themselves, value themselves. And because they're connecting deeply to that part of themselves, they're seeing you almost like in a new light. And that's where they're thinking the world and loving the world of you, divine feminine. And so this energy is, you might be feeling that too. You might be picking up on that love. And it's going back and forth and back and forth. Many months ago, we did a channeling where in the union energies, it was just a flow of love that was unlocking. And that flow doesn't have to be anything physical, but you feel it just goes back and forth between you two. That is what union is. It's that energy of love. It's connecting to that love. Union is purely love. And so I feel like with the Sun card here and the Ace of Pentacles, I feel like you're anchoring this into your own life, divine feminines. You're anchoring this in a grounded way, maybe in relationship with friends or family dynamics, or you're anchoring this into your hobbies and passions and business and work, or whatever this is, whatever it is that you're passionate about, whatever it is that lights you up, whatever it is that brings you joy, your artistic endeavors, your creativity, whatever this is, you're anchoring this in. You're anchoring this joy, you're anchoring this into your physical life, and that's giving birth to a new you too. That's giving birth to a new cycle. And abundance is also a word I'm getting. It feels abundant because you're tapped into that energy of love and joy. This is an awesome reading. This is an awesome energy. I'm really loving this energy. Yeah. And the moon is playing a part in this. We have the moon and we have the Nine of Cups. So this eclipse energy is definitely playing a part in this. The Nine of Cups is all about fulfillment, happiness. It might not be the Ten of Cups yet. Ten of Cups for me in this essence is giving counterpart connection. So this is almost like Nine of Pentacles energy, where you're feeling independent and self-sufficient and joyful. This is what we're talking about, where you're not looking at the physical as the evidence for whether or not you're in union. You're feeling that within yourself, and that is what brings in the Ten of Cups. That's what brings in the sacred union relationship connection with your counterpart, whatever that looks like in the physical, whatever you choose that to be, with your counterpart, that conscious connection in the physical. Right now, it feels like you're just anchoring that in within yourself. And the more you anchor that in within yourself, that's what has an effect. It has a ripple effect. So I feel like this eclipse cycle is anchoring this in. It's having that catalytic effect, that change effect. That's what's coming in. There's something on the other side of that Nine of Cups energy. Oh, the King of Swords. So I do feel like as it relates to the masculine, I feel like there is this expression. I feel like there is this, I feel like there is this expression, this clarity, this truth. This King of Swords, let's talk about the King of Swords for a second. And I like that they're showing up as kings, right? You also have the Knight here, but Knight is movement. I like that they're showing up as kings here. This King of Swords usually is somebody who can be very stoic, very guarded, non-communicative, withholding. The King of Swords can be a little bit distorted, right? This king feels solid. This king feels regal. This king feels like leadership. And leadership only comes from deep connection to oneself. And so that's where I feel like communication is coming from. Communication is coming from deep connection to oneself, from deep acknowledgement and understanding of oneself, from deep clarity, deep truth being revealed. Again, that revealed word came to us in the beginning of our reading. Anything else about the masculine we need to know when it comes to the feminine? The Two of Swords is an energy of indecision, which is interesting because we just got that clarity energy, right? And so I feel like where there was this indecisive energy, where there was this, which way is this going to go, that's where truth is being revealed. That might come through in communication. This communication could be energetic. It could be coming from an outside party. It could be coming directly from your counterpart. But I do feel like there's going to be a turning point moment. And we did channel that in the Twin Flame Turning Point channeling about Venus Retrograde and the importance of Venus Retrograde, especially because Venus Retrograde is happening right smack in the middle of eclipse season. Or I should say eclipse season is happening right smack in the middle of Venus Retrograde. So there's an important energy that's happening and playing out here where more is being revealed, truth is being revealed, that is going to help you really align to or make decisions for yourself, Divine Feminine, and align to your life. So if you had been, which way is this going? If you have been wondering, how is this going to play out? That's all going to be revealed. It's a little bit nerve-wracking. I'm just gonna, like, as I myself am on this journey, as I'm channeling this energy, I myself am considering this, and I'm like, that's a little bit nerve-wracking, isn't it? It's a little bit scary to the ego, but it's only scary to the ego that has played out a different experience. Remember, you're a new version of yourself, so it can be a new experience. And even if it looks similar, you're a new energy. And so you get to empower yourself to make the decisions that are aligned with your truth and your heart. So it's a little bit scary because there's a lot of unknowns here. But that's where you, again, have to anchor into yourself, anchor into your own inner knowing, anchor into your truth, anchor into your intuition, and allow it to unfold. That's where trust is important. That's where your journey has led you, Divine Feminine. Learning how to trust in the unfolding. There's a lot of unknown components, including, for some, it's who is my masculine if you've never met your counterpart before. For some, it's who is my masculine in this new energy. Who is my masculine outside of the separation? It is, who is he going to show up as? Who am I going to show up as? There's a lot of what looks like unknowns, but that's where you have to follow the truth and the path of the soul and surrender to that. Surrender to that trust. Surrender to that trust in God, the universe. Surrender to that trust in your own soul, and even surrender to trusting your counterpart who is on a journey too. Anything we need to know about the union energies? Anything we need to know about the union energies, please? Union energies. Six of Pentacles, where there was imbalance, much more reciprocity. We have talked about this, where you're moving into a higher level of your connection with all the wisdom that you've gained, moving much more into a conscious connection, a conscious energy. That's where you are being more in balance with each other in that union. This is pure union, balance, and harmony. Where there might have been a tipping of the scales in one direction or the other, one might have been more overgiving, one might have been more in the receiving mode and taking. There was a lack energy, there was a push and pull energy. This is balanced. That energy of lack of reciprocity, lack of mutual effort is clearing. Now there's going to be much more reciprocity, much more mutual effort. And that's where you have, again, a conscious connection. A much more solid foundation, too, is what I'm hearing. A much more solid foundation. They asked me to pull this card. You have the Five of Swords. That's what's clearing. This Five of Swords energy is the for me, the Five of Swords is the battle between the mind and the heart. That's where the balance is coming into play. You've battled your mind and your heart enough. You battled each other enough. That's where this was off balance. And that's where there was that give and take. And that's where there was that push and pull, because you were battling the mind and the heart. It was the feminine against the masculine, rather than working together in union, working together in wholeness, working together in partnership. You were battling each other, but you were only just battling yourselves. And so now that's clearing. This is feeling reversed to me. Now it's clearing, so that with the Six of Pentacles, it's almost giving me Six of Swords, which is moving into calmer waters. Much more balanced, much more harmonious. Anything else for the union energies to end our reading here? Knight of Wands, yeah. There's a cycle that is closing here. You've been through it on your journey. You've been through many battles, and you might feel a bit weary. That's where it might feel a bit nerve-wracking, Divine Feminines. It might be a little bit fearful for you too, Divine Masculines. But that's where you, rather than giving into that fear and giving into the uncertainty, you trust in the unfolding. You trust in each other. One card. Okay, yep. I knew there was something else. The Star and the Two of Cups. This was the energy I was receiving. This was the energy I wanted to end on, because this was the energy I was getting. Where there was battle, where you were fighting each other, because again, in essence, you were fighting yourselves. You had to come into your own inner union, your own connectedness to yourselves, in order to honor and recognize each other in that conscious connection. Well, now you have the Star and the Two of Cups. Now it's about that partnership. Now it's about that connection. Now it's about honoring each other, nurturing each other, loving each other in that balance. Now it's about meeting each other on the bridge. And that bridge is now being birthed. All right. Let me know how this is resonating for you. I'm sending you lots of love, lots of light, and we'll see you next time.